Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 198th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by the leader of the war on magpies, aka Fitzy, aka
Yes.
Liam.
Lead them to defeat. Hi.
What a week you had. Oh my god. So hang on. How did you get the security footage? I've been waiting for this exact moment to ask you.
I asked the manager. I was like, "Hey," he was just sitting there next to the footage, next to the big TV that has all the the cameras.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, I just got to take my bird. Can we replay it?" Yeah.
I admire that. So wait, you went right back in afterwards and did it?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to tell some of my co-workers that I wanted to take my bird because I found it very funny in the moment, and
yeah.
I was just kind of riding off that high. So I went back in and reported back to the battalion. So yeah.
I genuinely appreciate that over being embarrassed by it, and now you can be my fellow ornithophobe. Or ornithophobe?
Oh yeah.
Ornithophobe. I think that's what it is. Yeah, when you got a fear of birds. Because I'm with you. And of course, we've got the Amazing Spider-Man Defense Force, Jaden.
Crickets.
Whoa. Jaden, do
That's
you want
not
to pipe
Jaden?
up or?
Huh?
Sorry. It's Andy Lau. He's here.
Thank you. How are we? Howdy.
I'm good. I was hoping you'd play into the bit a bit more, but I don't know. It was alright.
I didn't play along with that correctly, I feel. But
yeah, it was okay. It was okay.
okay.
I'll give you a passing grade on it.
Jaden will be missed, I assume.
Yeah.
I've got to shave.
Debatable.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is Walkabout, which opened in Australia on December 17th, 1971. It was directed by Nicholas Roeg. It is a survival drama, and the synopsis says, two city-bred siblings are stranded in the Australian outback, where they learn to survive with the aid of an Aboriginal boy on his walkabout, a ritual separation from his tribe. Indeed, and the opening of the film explains that as well. Explains it a bit more in depth, and that makes it sound a bit scary, if I'm being honest.
It does.
Okay. Fitzy and I haven't seen this film before. Andy's an expert of this film.
Am I?
Hardened expert of Walkabout.
Resident expert.
Right. We'll get to you in a minute. So I want to ask Liam first. What did you think of Walkabout?
I thought it was interesting. I was I don't know, I was kind of in and out of it a little bit. I think it was very cool as like a representation film, like in just intense Australian representation going on here. And as a survival film, I guess it was. I don't think it was that much of a survival film, really. They were in the elements, but it wasn't like they kind of encountered anything that they had to overcome in a way. It was just nature itself.
True.
I think it was pretty like transporting and hypnotizing in certain sections. And like when I was into that, when I was like transported, it was great. But it was kind of it was more in the later half, I guess. I definitely became more engaged in the kind of rhythm of it and just kind of understanding what it was later on. So yeah, I enjoyed it overall, and I'm excited to talk about it and be enlightened by the resident expert. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah, a lot of what you said definitely resonates with me. This movie was a lot to take in at times, right from the start as well, which I just didn't expect something like this. I didn't expect sensory overload like this at times. I didn't expect even something this rich, I don't know. I just thought it was about some. I didn't like because I just seen the poster, so I don't know. I didn't even know it involved like two white kids out there. You know what I mean? So like the whole opening was really surprising. I want to talk about that, and so there was just there was a lot more to this movie than I sort of expected, and I'm there's a lot of interesting's just a very simple and right way to put it, because there's a lot of interesting choices in this movie. Some of which I'm puzzled by, some of which I really like. So yeah, it is really just interesting. I'm leaning positive overall, but yeah, I can't again, of course, wait for our resident expert to break down the whole thing frame by frame for us.
Fucking hell.
But in all seriousness, Andy, how many times have you seen this movie?
Just once, I believe.
Okay.
So it was around 2021. My fondest memory of introducing this film to you guys was remember after Dune, the first Dune, around December 2021, 20, I think it was 21, where I handed a handwritten response to Zach
Yes, I
for
think I
for the
still have that
question.
in. I think I still have that right here in my.
Oh, you
Yeah,
still
in
have
my
that
drawer.
right there, and
Yeah.
okay. So that's when I introduced you guys to Walkabout, and I remember that very fondly because I don't know, it's just something that I'm proud of to let you guys know about the film through my handwritten letter. Anyway, that stuff's irrelevant. I think I sort of had the same response that you guys had when you had your first time viewings. Like I didn't know where it was going to go, a lot of sensory overload, but like you get used to the rhythm, and I think
Mm,
by the end of the film, it really had a positive impact on me for a couple of days. I remembered. I just remembered it being the most dreamy, the most humanistic piece of art that I have ever encountered, and the fact that it's in the Australian landscape just makes it even surprising because I didn't know, because I don't really have a thing for Australian films as much, but surprisingly this one worked really well, like to the point that it's probably one of my favorite films that I've ever seen. I don't have better words to
yeah.
describe it.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I guess I was surprised that there were the two main characters that we have were English, which is the
Mm.
only thing I was surprised about. But other than that, Nicholas Rogue, he always he always seems to make his films a lot dreamy, and there's always a lot of sensory overload to his editing, and
Oh,
it is
yeah.
it is one of the most, it is probably one of the most perfectly edited films out there. Not out there, but like like I've seen, I guess. But
Mm.
had this, I think if this was another filmmaker, they would have a more subtle approach to the way they would make this film. But Nicholas Roeg just like puts it in your face with like a lot of zoom shots, a lot of cuts, and a lot of cross cutting. It's just like, I don't know. It's just indescribable, but yet it's so magnetic and beautiful at the same time. So I do look
Mm.
forward to hearing what you guys have to say in more detail. And it really is just like when I first time I watched it, I was like blown away by it. Second time, I got used to the rhythm and I fell in love with it even more. So yeah, I think those are my initial thoughts for the second viewing, I guess. And I'll
Yeah,
hand it
cool.
back to you guys. That was
Yeah,
so
cool.
long.
No, it was fine. It was
Can I
fine.
put my hand up for a bit?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I grinned way too much when I'm on camera. It's like I'm not used to this, but I'm grinning a lot because of that, because I'm nervous. So
Oh no, you're doing great. Don't worry about it. You're good.
it's so weird. But yeah,
You're good.
hey,
You're good. No, I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, I definitely want to talk about the editing a lot because it's very. I don't know. I don't have enough historical context to understand, but for the 70s, it feels ambitious. It
Mm.
also it's very brazen. It's very in your face, and it's sort of it was a bit of a shock at first. But what you're saying about finding the rhythm of it is definitely a factor. You sort
mm,
of do find it, and I don't know. Like I guess I was able to by the end I was able to recognize that rhythm, but it still was kind of a bit of a shock to the system for me. So like I don't know if I can appreciate it quite as much as you, Andy. It's definitely like I appreciate it in terms of like the vision of it, but I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I love it. It's just kind of like it's very impactful for sure.
yeah,
So I'm still, I guess, wrestling with that, and maybe like rewatches would help. But you do. It does take. It takes a few times of the film doing it, and when it gets into these montage sequences, where
yeah.
you sort of understand what it's doing and what it's going for in that department. But it takes a few times because they're quite intricate, and like for me that starts. It gets even wilder for sure, but like for me that starts right away with the opening sequence, and just immediately being thrown into super urban. I think it's Sydney. You know, it is Sydney for
Hmm.
sure. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Is it?
yeah. Yeah.
I'll,
No,
I'll,
there's that shot of the bloody Harbour Bridge and
Sydney
shit.
Harbour Bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
But
we'll get to that later. Like, please continue, Zach. I want to get back to it later about the location. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about it. I'm literally talking about it now because like I was immediately struck by getting thrown into that environment and just the shots of the brick walls and it feel everything feeling very metal,
mm,
not like music metal, but like literally metal, very grey. Business people walking around the streets, you know, all that kind of shit, and it's just all lots of fast cutting, lots of quick shots, and then so that's all kind of like already putting me in an environment that I was not expecting at all. I was just expecting the desert, so that threw me off, and then that combined with like this very interesting choice of like you know having the school practicing like the choir or whatever they were doing their vocal exercises, and then also like, overlaid with the didgeridoo, just the way it all works together with the score in the film. Um, I don't think the didgeridoo is actually used that much, but like it definitely was here. Very obviously deliberately used, particularly over just the city scenes, which was interesting. So all of that struck me as a really interesting sort of time capsule of like 70s Australia that's photographed so clearly, you know, and
Very
like
clearly.
it's like the film looked really good on Netflix anyway for me. So I don't know, like the quality of it and seeing 70s Sydney functioning in an everyday sort of you know office day sort of environment. It was very interesting and it felt very observant, especially because so Nicholas Roeg is British, right? I think he is.
Yeah,
I think we talked about that.
so
he's a pom. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a pommy.
yeah.
It just feels I don't know very observant, I suppose, for a foreigner to come in and photograph white Australia this way back then. It feels like there's a lot of thought and I don't know. It feels quite ambitious, like he's got something to say with the way these sequences struck me. But it is hard to put into words, in like in terms of exactly the feelings I feel like it's trying to convey. But anyway, sorry, you were going to talk about this opening scene, I think.
Uh, I'll let you guys segue into it, but I would like to shout out to the fact that I did watch this on Criterion channel with the
Oh,
4K restoration. So I compared the Netflix streaming to the Criterion, and the color grading is completely different. The shots of the city you mentioned,
really?
yeah, really,
Oh,
and the shots of the city you mentioned at the start, like it was more crispier on the 4K restoration. So yeah,
okay,
I
okay.
probably saw a film a bit different to you guys, but I'm sure the experience would have definitely been similar. I
Were
hope
they would you describe it as like less grey or anything like that, or like
more
less sort of harsh looking?
contrasty, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of sharpness in the images. I guess that's what most 4K restorations are like. But you'll appreciate the shots of the animals a lot more on 4K on their
Oh,
restoration. Yeah,
oh right.
I'll guarantee that.
Or I'll be scared by them more.
Pretty much. And the skies, and the sky of the color blue is a lot different than the Netflix from what I saw last night.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yeah, okay, that's really interesting. I assume you watched it on Netflix, Fitzy.
yeah. Well, just on the opening again, I'll just say that I guess the main feeling I got from it was like claustrophobia. I guess that's the main feeling that I felt that it was trying to convey, just because it's like very tight shots and um, I don't know. I think like we get that shot of the kid. And he's kind of it doesn't even show the faces of the people around him, so it's kind of it's very anonymous. It's very like grey, as you said. And I think
Yeah,
it's very strong in like just starting off that contrast, like for the rest of the film. Like that's all the contrast that you need, just those 5 minutes, um, to fully appreciate the nature that comes later.
absolutely, absolutely. And then and just on that contrast, like for me, it immediately brings. Well, this is just where my mind goes because I don't know. I feel like I think don't know if other people think this way, but I think often in terms of like, I'm very interested in seeing shots like this of like what Sydney was like in the 1970s. And I'm very interested in these sort of time capsule moments captured on screen. And I like just understanding the historical context of like how fast this urban environment, this like city Sydney came about. Essentially, you know, like 200 years prior to this, it was basically not like I think it was. Well, wait, when was the? I got my years mixed up. Oh, about 200 years ago, there was nothing there, right? So like thinking about that, and then like how long the nature that we spend the rest of the film in has existed for hundreds of thousands of years and all that kind of thing. And then like just I don't know, there's something very interesting about just how how fast like a huge urban city environment and just how like unnatural it feels of how it can just spring up and take up such a huge part of it because we don't live in the outback, how much it can take up a huge part of our living environment. I suppose it just sort of makes it feel unnatural and kind of wrong. Is sort of the feeling that I took away from it as well. As just like this doesn't it feels almost like critical just in the feelings it leaves me with, I guess.
Doesn't Perth feel like an outback instead of a city?
Oh yeah, that's why Perth's great. That's why I
Yeah,
endorse Perth on the show.
that's why Perth's great.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Perth. Yeah, Nicholas Hogue would love Perth.
Hogue.
But yes. So, well, I mean, I guess then we get introduced to the main characters, and then they head off to the outback.
Fuck
and,
yeah.
we get the whole inciting incident of this movie. Is there any significance to the fact that the characters are British? Because I thought this was an odd choice, an interesting choice. I know. So the boy is bloody Nicholas's son.
Mini Rogue.
Yeah, Mini Rogue, exactly.
Mini Rogue.
So like I don't know. I guess he just wanted to cast his son, but like the girl isn't. I don't know. And the whole family sort of just being British felt interesting to me. Like he specifically wanted to have a British person, playing off the indigenous culture and stuff like that.
I mean, back to what you said about Nicholas Roeg being a British director, being observant about Australia. I guess it kind of makes sense that he decided to place a British family, the type of people he understands, into a film such as this. True. Because it probably plays off better that way instead of having like a Australian white person being in the outback. I guess posh British people would obviously have a much different way of seeing how the outback looks, and I guess it'd be interesting to see another nationality be put into a place where survival and friendship is probably a must when you're stranded in a desert such as whatever desert that is. I'm not Australian enough to know what that's called, but yeah,
I've got no idea.
You get what I'm saying?
Where they go. Yeah. No, absolutely. So when they drive out there, this whole scene is. I mean, I felt the tension right away.
Definitely.
I just felt something was so off about it. But I was not at the same time. I didn't know what it was at all. I didn't understand what was happening. So you presume that this was a planned murder-suicide on the dad's part?
Probably. I mean, the opening shots we get of the sort of like a cabalist location, and then you get back to the outback. It's sort of like try to depict how frustrated or fed up he is with his current career.
You think so? You think that's that makes sense.
Yeah, but somebody he brings his kids along to die with him, which is probably the most frustrating thing ever. Like I remember being very shocked watching all the Hitchcock-esque cuts once the gun went off, and on the second watch, I found it to be more hilarious watching that play out. I even watched it twice last night just to embrace the absurdity.
I know.
Sorry.
You're sadistic, Andy.
Yeah, I'm shamefully sadistic, but I don't know. It's just you can't help it if you watch it more than once, the scene. So,
yeah. Well, I had to rewatch it for a different reason, and that's just because like I was watching the movie and I was like, this scene's kind of weird. This scene's kind of interesting, and then like the dad started shooting, and I literally had to rewind it because I just like couldn't. I was just like, hang on, did I just watch that? Like, I can't. The shot where he just starts. There's no build to him pulling out the gun. He's just like there's obviously the kids playing with the water gun, and then it just cuts to the shot of him like getting out of with the door of the car and just like starts firing. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
the hell did I just watch? And then so I just like I was kind of in shock for a minute, so I had to rewind it and like make sure I actually watched that.
He got his binoculars out as
I did.
well for his target,
Yeah,
essentially,
I know,
which is very
but
odd.
the whole thing was so odd. Like, obviously, like there being no petrol left in the car was a bit of a hint, I suppose, in retrospect. And then, like, I don't know what him doing work was about. I guess the whole thing was under the guise of they thought they were driving out here for a nice picnic.
Well, he
Which
had
is,
a paper that was like a geological survey or something. He was crossing off like elements. So I
Yeah.
thought he was just like scoping the land or something, or doing some
Scoping
kind of
land.
doing some kind of work there where he can put up buildings or something. I don't know.
maybe
Put up a mall in the middle of nowhere.
A landscape.
McDonald's.
Yeah,
a
exactly.
landscape architect,
Mm.
maybe. Yeah,
Maybe.
whatever
Yeah.
the Mac is.
But no, he just wanted to kill his kids and himself, apparently, which is just atrocious.
Really,
I mean,
really shocking.
yeah, the whole thing was crazy, to be honest. But I don't know, like, considering what happened, the film doesn't really deal with the trauma of it as much. Especially like obviously, girl. I'm gonna have to call these characters girl and boy, aren't I? Girl tries to hide it from boy and does a pretty good job at sort of disguising what actually happened. Even though boy's sort of onto it, but the film doesn't. I don't know. The film's not really about that. I don't think it's not really about like dealing with the trauma of like the fact that her dad just tried to kill her, which is pretty messed up and pretty insane. But like maybe long term, there's ramifications there for the character, but that's not really what the movie's about. I guess I was just kind of amazed that like how well that they were taking it overall. Like when
Yeah,
they have to start like right after that and like they have to start walking and then they spend the first night sleeping on the rocks and stuff and they have to roam the wild. I was just kind of like, wow, these kids are, they're taking this a lot better than I would. I'll put it that way. Like they're not complaining.
Yeah.
I was like, they got some guts, I guess.
yeah. They're not overreacting over their father's death. I think it seemed like the girl knew how much of a dick her dad was, so she probably didn't feel too
Yeah.
bad about him killing himself. And those cuts are crazy when he fell down after the gunshot, though. When he put his gun to his head, like those cuts are crazy.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Did you guys spot a children's choir singing after that scene where it's like, who watched him die? I set the fly. Did you recognize the children's choir right after the
Wait,
all
is
that?
that so? Hang on, is that
Is
the music that plays over it, or like
Yeah,
after
like
it?
after they walk away from the burnt car and the
Yeah.
dad's corpse, like that choir bit
Ah.
was playing. And
I think I missed that.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. Like the second, I just picked it up on the second watch though. Like I didn't get on the first watch, but the second watch I finally picked it up and I laughed at it even more.
Oh, okay. Is it
That
like
tragedy?
is it like faint in the background or something?
Sort of, yeah. The choir bit it was very faint, yeah. And they play it more often throughout the film. The children's choir, like who'll find the link? I said the linen, or whatever you call it. But yeah, that plays more often. But like in the scenario where the dad kills himself, I found it to be very absurd. The choice to put that lyric in the film.
Yeah.
But the flies,
well,
but the flies did see him die, right?
the flies.
Yeah, there were a lot of flies in the film.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Definitely.
That was the worst part, to be honest with you.
The close-ups of the food after after all that mess, the picnic food was pretty gross, but like it really fitted in with the scene, the vibe.
I agree with you, but like
hot summer sticky situation. It is a sticky situation, like much worse, much tragic. But yeah,
I get it. It's a sticky situation.
It's a sticky situation.
Incredible filmmaking right there. I mean, I agree with you, but like, that's like far from like the least gross stuff in this movie.
Yeah, we've got to dig more into it,
Or
I
the
guess.
most, you know what I mean? Yeah, there's a lot of gross stuff.
There's
It was
way
only
more.
a hint of what was to come. Yeah.
Exactly.
Starting off with the fruits, and then we head towards the more the more wanted foods.
Oh yeah.
I guess, yeah, foods.
I mean, the whole obviously look, we'll probably end up spending the most time talking about the use of editing and score and the way they work together in this movie, which I find very interesting. All the editing choices throughout. Just lots of unique stuff it was doing. Like lots of obviously this film loves a crossfade. This
Definitely.
film loves
Beautiful dissolves.
establishing loves establishing shots of landscapes and the sun to build atmosphere. Like that's all kind of like yeah, I can get on board with that. That's cool. And then the score comes in strong in a lot of these montage scenes. There's probably like 4 or 5 of them sort of sprinkled throughout where it goes pretty hard. And they get increasingly more abstract, I would argue. Like when they start introducing like these still frame shots into them, that gets a bit trippy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Lee might appreciate this, but the sort of like the editing, the cutting between still frames and then next shot is a moving frame. It kind of feels like Sans Soleil from Chris Mark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it kind of has that vibe, the montage editing style. It feels like Sans Soleil. Or how do you pronounce it?
Oh, Sans Soleil. I don't know.
Sans
Yeah,
Soleil.
it's very guerrilla documentary kind of filmmaking, I guess. Yeah.
Especially when you have that few shots of David Gulpilil.
Oh yeah.
R.I.P. Like a lot of still shots of him, and it's just like the editing is crazy at times as well. Especially between the shots of him spearing at the kangaroo or killing another animal. It's that's what I meant by it's right in your face. That sort of stuff like that. The editing style of Nicholas Roeg. It's so magnetic, but like very cruel at the same time. But you can't deny the beauty of it at the same time, despite the fact that vegans might watch this and be freaked out. But yeah,
I mean, I was freaked out by it.
Yeah.
Well, the killing of the kangaroo made me think like
the kangaroo. There we go. Yeah. Sorry.
Both this and Wake and Fright, like they kill kangaroos in both movies, and they're both like Australian kino. So it's like, what's going on here? Is this like the formula, or like is this just like other like non-Australian directors what they think of what makes good Australian cinema?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was good in both movies, but
I think it's mostly foreign directors that have a vendetta against kangaroos. Because Wake and Fright was directed by Canadian, wasn't it?
Seems that way. Yeah,
exactly.
Something to do with the Australian New Wave and kangaroos. It's not off to a good start, I don't think.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said for that. I mean, I liked it in this movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was hard to watch both times, but like in this movie, it was hunting off the land, living, whatever, nature, the food chain, whatever you want to call it. And Wake and Fright, they were just total dickwads, just for doing it for cruelty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen Wake and Fright yet, though, so I need to see that.
Oh, yeah, you'll be terrified by that sequence, probably.
More than Walkabout.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe in that particular scene. But the bit of trivia here that does link these movies, actually. This was one of 2 Australian shot films to participate in competition at the 1971 Cannes Film Festival. Do you know where this is going?
Oh.
The other was Wake and Fright. Both films feature these characters who are trying to return to Sydney.
Are they from the same year? Oh.
Fucking hell, it's on the same year. I think
imagine these 2 competing at Cannes. That's actually quite interesting. What a head-to-head that was.
Who has the most kangaroo kill counts, I guess, as well.
Oh, yeah. But it's like, I again, not a historical expert in all these things. Haven't seen a ton of movies like this, but I would imagine these 2 films in the lineage of Australian cinema are quite regarded as quite, doing similar things, and especially for their time. So it's just interesting that they were literally head-to-head like that.
I mean, they were definitely the breakthrough of Australian New Wave.
Right.
Because they were like the first films from that movement. So what you said there is probably true as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like the start of the 70s, just the birth of like all the cinema that started there, like with 5 easy pieces and like, that kind of thing. Like I didn't even consider like what the Australian New Wave would look like, but I guess this is what it looks like.
Well, Walkabout and Wake and Frolic were definitely the first films, and then much later you got Picnic at Hanging Rock by Peter Weir.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy who directed The Truman Show and Dead Poets Society. And then Mad Max is also included in the movement as well. Mad Max and I think 80s
That's
films
early.
are also in there as well.
Mad Max is early 70s, isn't it?
Late 70s.
Oh, late. Okay.
Yeah, late 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting movement that you got to watch more often, I guess. And we're Australians as well, so it is sort of a requirement that we watch a lot of these Australian New Wave films.
Sure. It definitely feels
maybe
more significant for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like, at least based on this film and Wake and Fright, there's definitely a requirement for scary and, natural photographing of crazy shit. Probably overall, probably more in this movie. But, like, a bit of trivia here. This film was largely improvised. Edward Bond's screenplay was, who was the writer? The screenplay was only 14 pages long.
So I improvise. I imagine it's a fucking camera doing all the crazy shit because the way that Nicholas Roeg uses the camera, like he was a cinematographer in this film as well. Like the things he did with the camera, like he like the angles he created on the spot are pretty immersive as well. Like his shooting style is like pretty strong. You'd imagine.
Oh, definitely. And it's about, so much of this movie is what we're talking about in these montage sequences and these different sort of cutaway shots of establishing the landscape and the wildlife and all that kind of thing. Like knowing what to capture, and like tons of the stuff he captured was just quite incredible that he captured it. Like that lizard eating the other little lizard was like, dude, how'd he get that?
Especially
what I mean?
the telephoto lens as well. It's like the great use of that lens is pretty nice.
Oh yeah. Like the zoom in on that insect or whatever. The insect's face. Yeah.
And the shots from distance as well, zooming out. It's like so many great shots of the outback and the animals. That just incredible cinematography though.
Yeah. So it's about it's just interesting. It's about how what he's choosing to capture, how well he's capturing it, obviously, considering like he only has a 14-page script. So what he's filming, how he does it incredibly well, and then the way it all comes together in the edit and how he creates the experience that we're sort of left with afterwards, it's pretty remarkable, honestly.
It is.
I don't know, like there's just tons of little moments like that in the movie. Like I don't know. Thank God we got the wombat being cute. It's just like, thank God, because like every other shot of wildlife is like scary or kind of off-putting. And it's like, oh, we just got a cute wombat, yay!
Yeah.
You could just tell Minnie Rowe was like grinning the whole time as the wombat was like snuffling his hair. It's like that was pretty wholesome.
It's exactly wholesome, but then it's like contrasted with. I had to look at all the goddamn what were they, boars or whatever, cattle or whatever, the corpses.
Oh yeah.
The bones and the skeletons, yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to look. I couldn't look at that. I actually couldn't look at the screen.
The zoom on the maggots as well on the corpse.
Yeah,
it's grotesque, man. It's grotesque.
I literally did the thing where I closed my eyes and I'm like, I think, is it over now? Is it over now? Oh, it's not over now.
You close your eyes during the film.
During that part, I did.
You're missing a frame if you close your eyes.
I sure did. I wanted to miss it.
No. Poor Zach. Fear of birds and now fear of what? Fear of animals, I guess. I don't know. Something like that, yeah.
Well, like that part of the film though, and that I think, Andy, is where like most of those still shots, those like still shots which were moved into like the moving shots were like introduced. That was the part where I was like, this is so kind of crazy that I felt like it was reflecting the characters' minds. It was trying to show you that they were kind of losing it a little bit at that point or something, because they just kind of they went all out on the the disgusting kind of the gross out angle and the kind of the gorilla stuff that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So at that point it was like nature was like consuming them or something. That was like it had turned sour at that point, I guess.
Definitely.
The experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Very experimental as well.
Oh,
like
yeah. I mean, when you had the most experimental parts to me were probably like a combination of when we had the like, you know, when we had like the sound of the I don't know, it was like radio chatter or something about the end of the world, or like about scientific implications for I don't know what they were going on about, but you know, some basically doomsday sort of stuff is what I was taking away from like this really like scary sort of vibe background chatter music over one of the montages, and I was like, gee, that's a bit terrifying. And then the other one was like, what was the deal? You know, the one where you get like the yellow page transitions. It was like it
Oh
was a newspaper. It was I
it was
couldn't
like a
figure out what it
story.
was.
It was like
want,
telling a story. Yeah, it was very odd. It was very odd as well.
Oh,
The
you mean as
page
in like
flipping.
it was like turning of a page is
yeah,
like the
because he was like telling the story of the
oh
the boy
right.
who was like stuck on the ladder or whatever, stuck on the house, on the
Yeah,
windowsill.
Interesting. Yeah, okay. See that one. Yeah, I get that now. That was very experimental for what you were saying. Yeah. I was like, well, what the hell? Um, but yeah, no, that's cool. The other one that kind of I think this one's a bit more easy, at least for me to figure out, but it was cool when they were cutting between. I think it was David who was beating the shit out of that kangaroo, like to butcher it and to to like end it, and in the wild, and then them cutting back and forth between that briefly and like the butcher cutting up the kangaroo meat in the store
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah, good cross cutting as well.
That was
That was amazing. Yeah.
That felt very striking and just a pretty. I don't know. To me, I just took it as the comparison between still relevant today of like it feels obvious. What am I trying to say? Surviving off the land versus the machine of the goddamn the meat
the
industry.
meat making machine of society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how unresourceful it all is and that kind of thing.
Oh, I watched that
And what
part
we've
and
done.
I realized that there's no wonder Christopher Nolan is inspired by Nicholas Roeg through that cross cutting style at times, and it's just
Has he?
you
I
can
mean,
tell.
I can definitely see that, but has he said that before?
Well, he's mentioned that Nicholas Roeg is one of his filmmaking inspirations. Like you just tell from the cutaways. So remember
Yeah,
when they were talking about the dad during that scene where they're bathing for the first time? Like they were talking about the dad, and there's just there's just like a cutaway of the dad. It just kind of feels like something that Chris Nolan would do for his editing, like cut away to something and then get back to the current
yeah,
shot.
yeah.
And then the cross cutting does feel reminiscent to the stuff that Nolan has done throughout his life, I guess. Especially Memento, I think that's probably a standout. Like that's the most Nicholas Roeg sort of film that you see from the man himself.
I mean, it's maybe, but yeah, that's really interesting to know that he directly was an inspiration because I can definitely see that for sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, it's all over his films. It's a lot done in Oppenheimer as well. So
Oh yeah, the cross cutting is hypnotic in that one as well, and
very much a trademark. Yeah,
very much. Yeah, and that's sort of what Walkabout does feel like, hypnotic, just overall.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I love it for sure. But yeah, later in this movie, the other aspect of the movie that, in terms of inclusions, that still puzzle me a little bit, the choices to include these other characters or these other moments, that are feel a bit different to what I was talking about with the kangaroo butcher, where that feels very thematic. That feels like very specific in the moment. But like when you get these sort of other scenes that for a moment take you away to these other characters also in the Outback. Like you've got like the bloody horny Italians with the scientists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's interesting. And then I guess the only sort of significance I could see to that is that later they find the thing that blows away. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
but it just that was an interesting choice. Also, the big group of people at the I guess I would call it the sculpture house.
Community center, maybe.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Yeah.
I was confused by that. Like, do the boy and girl, main two characters, not realize they were so close, and to civilization in that moment? And David, because David knew, right?
He
So it's like,
knew.
did he not really think anything of it for them, or was he deliberately moving them away from it? Like, I feel like there was some depth there that kind of puzzled me.
I mean, if you take into consideration about his fate in the end, it kind of does feel like he does not want them to see civilization close by. So I think you're pretty spot on with your thinking right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It
like
might have
he's
been
doing
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty obvious.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a bummer.
yep.
But that choice of going to those characters was interesting.
It was. And weren't they the same indigenous people that were jumping on the burnt car
Oh, that was the other one.
most
Yeah.
before? Yeah, I feel like they were
Yeah.
the same people as well, but they had clothes on in that moment rather than the other shot. That was creepy as well. The dad's corpse was founded near there, like
Yeah.
the makeup on that corpse.
Oh,
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely creepy looking. But yeah, no, that was actually the third one I was going to say. It was like going back there to the body and to the car. I don't know. These are, I guess these, when I mentioned at the start, some puzzle choices. Like these are the ones I'm more puzzled about. Like, I get the impact and the vibe and the atmosphere of the editing we've been talking about, but like these ones, I'm kind of like, there's something. It's very intentional and it's very there's clearly a vision behind it. But I haven't quite figured these ones out on my first watch.
Yeah.
Of like why they're here.
Well, I think the scene with the Italian dudes, the kind of scientists or whatever they were, that just felt like they were giving us a brief glimpse of normalcy for like, even though it wasn't like a totally normal scene, it was a bit odd, but just a brief glimpse of like, a normal group or something, or like just a normal like interaction between people.
Like existing out here.
Yeah, I guess so. But then, yeah, I think that the kind of tribe that they showed who were like jumping in the car and stuff, I think that kind of like that fit into the film enough where it wasn't like distracting or anything. Not as much as like this other scene was. But yeah. So did they? Okay, in terms of David like leading them away from stuff, because you could argue like he also like didn't tell them about the road, so he might have been leading them, away from that just so that they could like spend more time together or whatever. But did he actually die at the end? Because he was like, you saw his eyes twitching, and he was just chilling on that tree, So I wasn't like certain if he died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inexperienced actor, of course, he had to blink a bit when he pretends to play dead. I don't know. I was pretty sure it felt like a suicide. Obviously, like you felt to attract the girl, and then you sort of felt sad from that. So it's supposed to play out like a tragedy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So I mean, I totally get what you mean in that there's no clear like cause of death. There's no wound. He's not hanging from anything. He's sort of like his arms are up in the tree kind of thing. So it's like he could just be like holding himself there or something. So I get that. I mean, I only took it as that he died.
Yeah.
I think that's I think his eyes twitching was honestly like just David not really knowing how to act. Like
It was his
like,
first. It
wasn't
was his
nailing
first
the
role as
scene.
well.
Yeah, and who knows how long they were trying to do it, and I don't know what like the shot they used. I that's honestly all I thought of that. But yeah, I mean, my jaw did drop when he was there hanging, and I could only take it as him being dead. I noticed. I mean, again, it was cool to see girl notice that she immediately like shields her brother from it and sort of ignores it, like she did with the incident with her dad, which is kind of like, oh, like is it able to sort of doesn't even need to take a moment to sort of process it herself? Is sort of just immediately like, yeah, let's go. 8:30 in the morning. It's time for school. That kind of vibe. Like, so that was interesting, but I was definitely very surprised by his death. And prior, like his whole final dance, like good. I guess when they said about it's like him saying goodbye, which I guess it was in the end.
Yeah.
Like his final dance before that was a creepy dance. I mean,
Do you know
I don't know if I was meant to feel it was creepy. I don't know if that's like if it's probably like a culturally significant dance or something. But like just the vibe in the film was kind of haunting to me, harrowing. Of like, why is he behaving this way? He knows something's going on. and he knows what he's going to do. I suppose assuming he does kill himself, which again is the only way I could take it. Like Andy, does he kill himself basically?
I don't know if I don't know if you're aware what the dance is about, but like on this rewatch, I'm pretty sure it was like a dance to ask if he could fuck her. I don't want to call it
Wait,
that.
what?
Mating.
Really?
It's like a mating ceremonial dance. I think that was the entire point. It was a
Are
dance
you sure?
asking them to make love. Yeah, I'm pretty
Oh.
sure.
No, I read it at all. Okay.
That's why he did. That's why he kept dancing till the night, because he needed the confirmation from the girl if they wanted to make love or not. And it seemed like she just kept avoiding him because she was like, I'm not being racist, but she was definitely
she doesn't
creeped out.
understand.
She was definitely
I was creeped out.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the film tries to depict. Like, even though these people in Australia, it still feels universal. Like, they don't understand each other quite enough. And obviously, David's character doesn't speak English, so in some way, the misinterpretation between both people is like very significant to what this film's about. And I think
Okay. Yeah.
that was like the last nail off the wall sort of moment where he finally accepts that she probably won't understand what he's trying to do, and therefore he succumbs to his death, I guess.
Well, I didn't interpret that. I thought, talking about misinterpretations, I thought she was interpreting it as a kind of, mating dance or whatever you want to call it. She was frightened by that. But I think she was misinterpreting it. Whereas, like, if you accept that he died, it was like it was a goodbye, dance or something else. Because,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, but she tells Boy that she thinks it's a goodbye dance. So, like, but you would assume.
Yeah,
I took that at face value. But yeah, it would make sense she was lying.
I think she comes to understand that it's a goodbye dance, but she's initially kind of frightened by it because she thinks it's something else. I think that's what the scene was.
She thinks she's telling the truth to Boy, and she's come to that conclusion after it keeps going.
Yeah, I think so.
I think thinking back, I think she does sort of know it's a mating dance, like what Liam just kind of suggested. Like, she almost stuttered something, but she just said something else.
But I don't think it is a mating dance.
You don't think it's a mating dance?
No. I mean, it could be, but
I thought that's yeah, right. Okay, so the whole idea of the mating dance was not known to me at all until Andy just brought it up. So that is
courtship ritual. She was naked, right? When I don't want to put underage nudity on this show, but she was naked, right, when he sneaked up on her. Yeah.
Yes.
Sort of feels like it's like he's trying to.
Yeah, I guess.
Get in with her, Yeah.
I think it's valid because there was definitely something going on, like small moments of like possible sexual tension there. In little moments, when he's like chasing her around and they almost run into each other in the door. Like, the film was playing with that idea for sure. It didn't come out of nowhere.
Definitely, yeah.
And there being something between them or whatever.
Moments before as well, he just kept looking at her like he sort of wanted to try to confess his love to her at like plenty of times beforehand. So it kind of feels like the purpose of that dance was to try to get to the main event and win her back, sort of.
Yeah, but I guess okay. Okay, that's like I think both. I guess it is between those two ideas, but which one? Who's interpreting what, and which one's true? I guess. What's he actually doing?
Liam's suggestion is valid too, but like mine feels like a more obvious one, but like it might not be correct either.
So then, why would he? So are you saying? If it is a mating dance and it's taken as a decline, then why does he kill himself?
I don't know. He's a walkabout, isn't he? Because walkabouts are supposed to be Aboriginal boys who are turned 16 and supposed to be like exploring, right? But because he runs to this white girl, he sort of like has this different objective to be in love with her, and he failed that, and then he sort of wanted to kill himself instead. Like, I thought the point of being a walker is to hunt and live by yourself.
Yeah,
but his focus sort of shifted to
like he failed his walkabout.
Pretty much, yeah, and that's why he killed himself.
Well,
maybe.
I will clarify. I did think it was kind of a mating dance at first, but then I kind of as the scene went on, I kind of changed my view. But it does make sense if you're saying that. I guess they're kind of corrupting him in a way, and they're kind of changing his, the direction he's kind of supposed to go or whatever, you know. So that would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense for the mating interpretation, mating dance interpretation.
But like, just imagine if he didn't meet the boy and the girl. Like his walkabout could have been a lot more different. Probably normal as
Definitely.
many other walkabouts, but yeah, he just happened to meet the white boy and girl, and it kind of changed his life in a way that he seems intrigued by who they were and how he wanted to guide them through the journey. It sort of feels like a life-changing decision when he decided to do the dance and failed it at the same time. I'm not grinning about this. I'm just like, yeah.
No, I'm
definitely not grinning. This is sad. It's a sad moment.
Andy's really sad, everyone. Screenshot.
I'm really sad.
But no. So I found this in the trivia, and reading it, I actually think it's more of an opinion that someone wrote, to be honest, but it is interesting. It's because it's on this topic. By saving the white boy and girl, Black Boy has broken the rules of his walkabout. Strictly speaking,
there we go.
In most tribes, it is something a boy has to do alone for a period to survive, to prove he can survive. So Black Boy has broken his taboo. That is one of the reasons he dies. But okay, so if I'm taking this interpretation, by saving the white boy and girl, it was the thing. So that could still mean that the dance at the end was a goodbye dance. Like he almost knew by saving them. If I'm taking this interpretation, by saving them, he knew that his walkabout was broken, so he was just enjoying his time with them while it lasted, and then he was going to say goodbye to them anyway.
Yeah, although
sure.
It does feel like a courtship ritual, and still, because there's no other reason to walk up on an undressed girl and start something as creepy as that. Not creepy, but
yeah.
But
that's just the Western interpretation, you know.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
That's us audience. It's a Western interpretation, right? So
exactly, it's not creepy, Andy.
It might be the way we look at it, because that's important. That's important interaction between the screen and the audience. You come up with theories like this, and then you can't help but think it like that.
I thought David was creepy when he was dancing. Therefore, I'm the problem.
There you go.
Yeah,
you're on the right track.
I think I figured it out.
The racist act right there, you know.
Oh my god!
Performed.
I mean, you're apparently known for it on this channel as well, but like you're not too racist. But like in a way, feels more banterous. I don't know why I'm explaining this to you, but it's just
it's
just something I have to acknowledge to the audience.
Thanks, David. No. So at the end of the day, I like all these ideas. At the end of the day, this film is trying to be is critical of white Australia, right?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the other thing I didn't mention that you talked about was like the scene with the white guy that's kind of controlling the tribe or whatever, the people that are making like these sculptures or whatever. That kind of seemed like an obvious shoe-in for kind of colonialism is bad, anti-colonialism kind of sentiment or whatever. Yeah. Maybe them being British is kind of a big part of that as well.
Yeah.
We definitely need those inserts of scenes of other white Australians interacting with the Indigenous people to really sell the idea while the film's happening. I think what Liam said probably is a very solid interpretation, I guess.
Valid.
Yeah. No, I agree with all those examples. I just think the question's worth asking because I think the film, it's all in the subtext and in the atmosphere that it builds. I think it does a good job of not spelling it out super clearly or anything. And another reason I brought it up is just because I saw this article headline about how the film, like basically taking the opposite perspective, about how the film represents the maintenance of white superiority in Australia, basically by misappropriating the culture and ritual of the walkabout by I guess by like assigning it to white characters. I don't know. because you could you could say that this is the whole thing was their Walkabout kind of thing. I don't know.
Right.
So like it is. I guess there are interpretations of it the other way, but
I mean,
I don't know. That's not how I viewed it.
I didn't love this. I didn't love this film for these themes. I just loved the film for the innocence of being in the outback. Really, so I feel
Oh,
like
the innocence. Oh yeah,
the innocence
absolutely.
of being out there, and then when you guys bring up all these topics, I kind of like opened my mind about this film in a sort of not a negative way, but more in a critical way now.
Yeah.
So
No, that's cool.
I think
That's cool.
putting these themes into consideration definitely
Does that mean?
felt interesting from your end,
Yeah,
from
cool.
your guys. Yeah,
Does that mean you're going to give it an 11 in final verdicts now? Because it
Lex
has to
11.
go up. It has to go up even more.
We'll see. There's plenty more to discuss, though. We'll get to that when we cross that bridge.
Just another example of in terms of these examples that are like that Fitzy just raised. Like another one for me is like these hunters at the end that start driving around and start shooting the cow creatures.
That was creepy.
Well, I don't know. Are they boar or bot? I don't know what they are, but the cow dudes.
Cow dudes. Cowabunga, dude.
Those kind of that's just another one of like another potentially shady sort of. It feels shady for sure, and it just feels very again connected to this idea of us not living off the land and not treating nature with respect, which is of course in stark contrast to what a fundamental aspect of Indigenous culture here. So, I don't know. Again, that's just another example. It's not super on the nose, but like it just leaves you with this sort of gross feeling of of disdain or dislike of feeling obnoxious towards these white characters.
It really does, yeah. But you can't lie to yourself that the images that you see through them shanking that boar into a splint, it's just like good imagery from Nicholas Roeg as well. You can't help but admire that sort of thing. But it does feel like a way for us to. I think we do see that from David's or the Aboriginal boy's point of view as well. Sort of like how depressing it is to see people kill animals unjustifiably at the same time. So
yeah,
those type of things do really help put it into perspective of what the Aboriginal boy has to see from other people sharing the land with him.
Yeah,
if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I do want to ask Fitzy a question. Which shooting scene was creepier? The one where the white guy shoot the boar, or the giraffe in Sansolil? Which one was creepier? You have to see the giraffe scene, Zach. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Is he going to mess me up?
Maybe the way you see collapse is worse than the boar.
Yeah, I reckon the giraffe scene probably.
Yeah, the giraffe scene, like the build is so tall, it falls down so weirdly, whereas the boar is just like clump.
Oh yeah, I don't want to see a giraffe die.
You don't want to see a giraffe get shot, trust me. But like,
yeah,
just the way it's shot is like pretty hypnotic. The way you see animals fall to their death, it's like
again screenshot Andy grinning right now. Take it.
It's not. I don't know. I'm being sadistic, but come on, it's just like it's just one of the things you have to enjoy watching. You can't help but grin.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I did not want to discuss this film because of the animals, but yeah, I'm so sorry. Vegan alert. You have to put that in the start of the episode, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
man, viewer discretion is advised for all vegans out there.
Yeah,
it's too late now though. Yeah, okay. I mean, so in terms of the themes and let's talk about the end of the film a little bit. I thought this was cool. I liked it. Going back to the city, going back to the metal. It's like, God damn, I didn't miss this place. But anyway, isn't it funny how a film can like make me feel like, with the contrast of the shots of the brick walls and pavement, and then cut to the outback mountains and the ranges and the rocks and like the natural beauty of Australia. Isn't it amazing how a film can make me, for a moment, make me feel the complete opposite to how I feel in real life of like, oh my God, thank God I'm looking at the outback again. Oh, what a relief. And it's like, hang on, and then like the movie ends and I'm like, hang on, it's like, The city.
What the fuck am
No,
I?
please. Never take me to the Outback, please.
Take me back to Perth. I'm in Geelong now. What the hell?
Yeah, no,
that
exactly.
sort of thing. Oh, sorry for doxing your location.
No, I think we've said that before, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, Geelong. Yeah, fair.
But anyway.
Sorry.
So I felt that with those choices. But going back to the city, getting the time jump, and just getting back in what's her face's girl's head,
Yeah.
and the final thing with she's married or whatever, and then her thoughts as her, her thoughts aren't with the goddamn daily capitalist grind life
No.
that us white English people brought with us. You know what I mean? To this land. This man talking about his goddamn world of job promotions and shit.
Yeah, Mel got fired. Dude, I was like, why did Mel get fired?
Exactly.
What's the office job?
Yeah, 100%.
Gossip.
Like, and that's the thing. Like we brought that shit with us, So like, and then but her thoughts, of course, being back at the Outback and being back with her time on the Walkabout and that kind of thing. And then you got the poem, which I think I reread it, and it's I feel like those are just kind of the feelings it's trying to convey of like that, longing for a better time, or that kind of stuff. That idealistic view of a different time in your life, of being more connected with nature and all that kind of thing. So I feel like that is again just connected to these ideas we've been talking about, through the view of the character specifically, I guess.
It really does take you back to innocence as well, just by watching the last moment and then dissolve into a flashback. It really does take you to a time where you don't have to worry about anything in a capitalist grind city that you live in as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also like I mean, the opening like claustrophobic shots of the city, it serves a double purpose. It's supposed to serve as a juxtaposition to nature later, but it's also kind of gives you a hint into the the dad's mind, and you see the dad like sitting there with all the the concrete surrounding him, and then when you see him in his apartment, and it's kind of like overlooking the the sea and the pool.
And the pool,
I think they show the same apartment later with the girl. It's like very similar if it's not the same thing.
I think she's living back there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, it's almost like she's entering her dad's like state of mind from the start of the film, and she like she understands, that same state of mind that he had all the way back then, of like being trapped in this urban hellscape landscape. What do you want to call it?
That's a really good contrast from Liam. That's a really good contrast. And then she might. I
didn't make the contrast. Nicholas wrote it.
Nicholas did. Yeah, just good eye to identify that. And then she'll later take her kids to the picnic and then do the same thing.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully
bring
she's more mature.
Bring that descendant pride into the family. Sorry about that. That was very inappropriate. You did mention the end scene, right? Just then. Let's talk about the underage nudity, shall we? Or
how about we just?
Yeah. I thought we'd already gotten past this, but hang on. Actually, but they do show it again, don't they? At the end.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, when her husband's talking to her, she thinks back about the Outback, and then there is another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that we get to see mini rogues.
No, just leave it out. Let's just cut it. It's fine. It's fine. We don't have to talk about it.
Okay,
there's nothing that significant there.
You have to understand. You have to understand the shots of Jenny Agata, if that's how you say her name, swimming naked around the water is like probably one of the most significant images in Australian cinema history. Like,
the earlier ones.
The early ones, yeah. That stuff will be ingrained in my mind for like, not in a way that I'm being pervy about it. Like, I'm not an internet porn addict, but like sort of in a way that really brings out the innocence and the lack of worries that you have for the capitalist world. It feels timeless. The shots of her swimming around, it just I can't put it into words, but like,
I was confused.
Very memorable.
I was confused why this was one of your 10 out of 10 films, and then that scene went on for 5 minutes, and I was like, I get it now.
It went for so long.
Yeah.
It was also cross-cutting between that and David Gulpilil spearing the kangaroo. Was it a kangaroo? I think it was a
True.
kangaroo.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Like in a way that she finally is settled into the outback. So I don't know if you have a piece of trivia on the nudity from Jenny Gutter, but it plays out correctly in the context that it's not trying to be male gazy. It is just a simple scene of innocence through great editing and great music. That music is lovely, by the way. The orchestra music, like that stuff plays in my mind all the time after my first viewing.
Very
It's
dreamy.
very dreamy indeed, and the way it's shot, it's like I don't know. It's like watching a snake slither in some way, but very hypnotic as well. But like not in a male gazy way. If I had to say that again.
No, you're 100%, Andy. Like everything you said, you're 100% right. I think you made
Please
some
don't
great
cut it
points.
out because I think
You're the one who keeps bringing it back to the male gazing.
This is like I hope people don't see it that way. I hope people don't see it that way though.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right about significance in the film. Yeah.
It is. Definitely. Yeah, it was on ABC at one point during the day as well, where they showed Jenny Agata swimming around naked at daytime as well. So because it was like an episode about cinema, Australian cinema, and then I just thought we really need to point out that scene and the significance of how that's really important to the.
If the ABC
movement.
doesn't feel the need to cut it, then I guess I don't. So
yeah. Liam's accusation right there is just you know, jumping to conclusion way too much, you know.
I don't mind talking about that scene. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, but you're like, oh, Eddie probably get out of 10 out of 10 because that scene. I was just like,
oh right, yeah, true.
Yeah, well, that fact. I'm not offended, but it's just like really funny that my awkward approach to talk about this is probably evident when this gets released.
Yes, but you justified it in the end, so
I try.
As long as you stop right now, it's okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to our final verdicts for. I was going to say Wake in Fright for Walkabout.
Wake in Fright.
We've already done that one like 4 years ago. Liam.
I'll give it an 8 overall. I think the kind of transporting sequences in the latter half of the film kind of overrides whatever trepidation I felt in the first half. So yeah, I think it won me over overall. I think like there was some like messiness, I guess, and like there's a bit of like vagueness in like my interpretation still, as we've kind of displayed here right here in this episode. But I think it was overall a pretty great experience. So I'll slap an 8 on it, as Jane would say.
Excellent. I was at a 7, just right afterwards, because I was a bit confused by some things and taken out by a couple like those things that we were confused about. But I don't know. I really like this conversation, so I'll give it an 8 as well. And yeah, just a lot of mastery on display here for sure, filmmaking wise. Andy.
Definitely. Well, what Liam said about making this 10 out of 10 because of that swimming scene is definitely not true. This is probably one of the most poetic things I've ever seen. And my exposure to Australia from a British director is really, really, really interesting. Like, it was really thought-provoking, sometimes ignorant, but yet you can't help but like appreciate the beauty of it all, especially through how especially how dynamic the editing and the camera work is. So I'll definitely give this a 10 out of 10. This might be one of the most memorable Australian film I've ever seen in my life. So I've got to say Wake in Fright first, but I'll definitely
you should, yeah.
But I'll definitely get around to that. But for now, Walkabout being that sole best Australian film I've ever seen, up there, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you for this discussion.
That's all right. I love that you love it so much for like the experiential factor, as opposed like and like a lot of the thematic conversation we had seemed to be a bit like was new for all of us kind of thing.
Definitely, it felt new too, though.
Cool.
Like talking to you guys about it.
Yeah, that was cool. I like
it. It kind of made me look differently, but at the same time, it really made me learn more about the film that I love.
Yeah,
and that without cinema effects, I wouldn't be able to get other people's interpretations on this film. That is more foundational as this.
That's why
I'm running my mouth off. I'm sorry.
No, that's why we got to review The Incredibles. Get you on because you've never seen it, and then you can tell me all the reasons The Incredibles is incredible, and I didn't realize. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You
okay,
can like
yeah. I'll definitely be open to that.
inspire
Yeah, The
me.
Incredibles. I want to try and delivery hate on it. I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't sound that enthusiastic. Let's get into news chat. Got a couple trailers here. First of all, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong is back, hitting the big screen in a few months with his film called Trap. Liam watched the trailer. So I watched the first half of the trailer. I watched it because I watched until Josh starts speaking to the black dude, and the black dude's about to start saying something about what's going on, and I stopped it there because I'm like, I'm in. I don't need to see this.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's actually so funny because they reveal something in the trailer. They reveal a twist in the trailer. That's like it was a twist that I was thinking they could have pulled in the movie.
I assumed it was something's gonna be happening with the concert. I didn't want to know what it was
With the what? Sorry, what did you say?
with the concert.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I don't know how far you got into that speech then, but yeah, no, it looks really fun. I love Josh Hartnett. I'm into late school Shamalama Ding Dong and his experimental stuff. But this looks like it definitely looks like more standard, I guess, or more back to basics than something like Old or even Knock at the Cabin. It feels more just like action thrillery, I guess. Maybe not action, but drama thrillery, I guess. But it looks solid. It looks actually quite
He's just
good.
knocking these films all of a sudden. He's just knocking them out. And I haven't seen.
Yeah, he really is.
I haven't seen any of them besides Split and. Yeah, that's about it. I've only seen Split out of his filmography.
Oh, really? I haven't seen Split.
Really?
That's like one of the ones I haven't seen.
Wow.
I didn't see Unbreakable and The Sixth Sense first, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that new film from M. Night.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I'm an M. Night fan overall too, and I heard about the premise. I heard Josh was in this movie. I heard that last week, and I heard it was something to do with a concert. And already I was like intrigued, and then I watched the first half of the trailer, and I saw it, and I'm like, yeah, no, this is I'm in on this. This is good. So that's why I don't need to see any more. So yeah, I'm into it. And we had this other trailer that apparently only I watched, but I feel like I've got to talk about it for Jaden, and that is Transformers 1. And then there's this new animated Transformers movie coming to the big screen.
Animated?
This trailer was not what I was expecting. It was kind of odd. So it's an origin story for the Transformers about when they're all basically about when they're all teenagers. And like Optimus Prime and Megatron can't transform yet. And they're just like robot regular people on Cybertron and their friends. And it's like I was kind of like, what? Like I just never considered anyone telling this story. So I was just like, oh, this is kind of weird. And then the humor in it was kind of off, kind of a bit generic Hollywoody, trailer stingery. For me, the humor didn't really land in the trailer, and I didn't really like the animation. So I guess I didn't really like the trailer that much, but I'm more just curious about the story and like what it could be, because it seems like such a weird, interesting idea for the Transformers lore. I'm not an expert, but as far as I know, this is quite new. The idea of go to the when you think of Transformers origin story, I figured it would be something to the effect of go back to the dawn of the Autobots and when Optimus Prime first faced Megatron. This is before that. This is they're kids and hanging out and shit. And I'm like, okay. It's got weird, I don't know, it's giving me high school vibes from a Transformers movie on Cybertron. So not at all what I was expecting, but I'm open-minded to it being different. I don't expect Jaden would like the trailer, just knowing his taste, but maybe I'm wrong. So Jaden's got to let us know what he thinks of it.
Yeah. Bloody Transformers. Yeah. I've only seen the first one. I didn't even like it, so I don't really care.
Fair enough.
Sorry to disappoint Jaden.
Thank God Jaden's not here to hear you say that. Blasphemy. Let's get to our highlights.
Oh my god, let me do something first.
What?
I need to text someone first. Hang on.
can I not just continue while you text?
Please continue. Please continue. Please continue.
Thank you. I just won't go to you first if you don't want me to.
I'll
Yeah,
listen.
all right. Well, I won't then. Now, yeah, sure. Now it's time for our highlights of the week. Fitzy, what have you been watching?
Friday Night Lights. No, I'm kidding.
It's
No,
over.
I
He's
finished
done.
with that a few weeks
So-
ago.
so, yeah.
I watched Robot Dreams, which was a
Shit.
it's an animated film about this robot, this dog, about this dog, right? And he hires a robot that he builds, and the robot becomes his friend, but then they get separated. So the film is about them trying to reunite as friends. And it's like there's no dialogue. It was made by like a Spanish company. But yeah, it's just like there's occasional like animal and robot like sounds, but there's no words. And it was very good. It was very very cutesy, but yeah, it totally worked. It left me thinking about it for a few days, just like the human like the human like nature of these characters. They're very just relatable, I guess, and yeah, it was a good film.
Is this? I've got no idea what this is. So this is animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nominated. It was one of the nominations for best animated film.
Feature
and-
length.
Yeah. So it's set in the 80s in New York, and it's called Robot Dreams because like the robot, he has dreams, but he he has dreams because he's stuck on this beach, and the beach is like locked out for the winter, so they can't get to each other. But it's a good film about friendship and connections and that kind of thing. And it was very like mature in the end. I should have expected it to be because it was like nominated for an Oscar, but it surprised me in the end. So I'd recommend it.
I was meant to see that film early April for a Myth members screening, advanced screening, but I didn't want to go. Yeah, should have
lost out on that one.
Yeah, if you do want to travel to Melbourne though.
So did you go watch this film somewhere, or can you disclose how you watched it?
It's at the Pivotonium.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wasn't that Village or Reddings?
No, it could be there, but yeah, it's at the Pivotonium.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Check it out at the Piv.
Liam loves the Piv, obviously.
Yeah. Shout out to the Piv. Cool.
Not to mention I applied there and they rejected me.
Oh, did they?
I don't know why. I don't know. I mentioned that, but yeah, that's the truth. Yeah,
I take it back.
I'm kidding. Appreciate them more if you want.
It's fine.
Nah.
I hate the Piv. No.
Have you been to the Piv?
I have, unfortunately. Anyway, I watched this goddamn documentary series. So it's Alexander, the Making of a God. I watched this goddamn Netflix documentary series about Alexander the Great, and just because I was like, why not? And I usually watch documentaries when I eat, just because I like throwing them on for 10 or 15 minutes just to learn something.
Very odd.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you so much for your kind words there. So that's just sort of what I do. Finish this one. I've never seen. I don't know. Have you guys seen anything like this? I don't know if I'm just never seen it and it's common or something. But like this, it does this thing where it's like it's not just like a regular documentary where they do reenactments, but it's like it's a blend of documentary / just a drama where you have it's sort of I would say it's a 60-40 split. Being 60% like it's just acted scenes with actors, like full drama television stuff, and then 40% like more traditional documentary SBS stuff where like then you get the bloody historians come in and say their piece, and then you get the map overlays and all that kind of shit.
You see that shit on SBS all the time, I feel.
But I've never seen it like this though, where like I see it on SBS where it's like, and then they have like non-vocal reenactments like as visuals over over narration or something like that, over interviews. Right. But this was like straight up like fully acted scenes.
Huh.
like you go to them for minutes at a time, kind of thing. So it was a bit different. It was a bit more leaning more into the fictional, dramatic recreation realm. So I thought that was interesting. And overall, I just wanted to bring that up for that reason. Basically, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning about him. I think there's more seasons coming because it didn't cover everything.
Holy shit.
So I guess I'm gonna wait for that now. I sort of thought it was just gonna cover everything. I didn't really realize.
What's happened so far?
He's bloody now the king of Persia as well.
King of Persia.
Okay.
Am I getting that mixed up with Persian or is that the same thing? Persian?
Well, you're Persian if you're from Persia, I assume.
So you're Iranian.
Well, you were.
You were.
Persia doesn't exist anymore.
Persia, Iran used to be called Persia, but Persia also used to be a massive empire. It wasn't just Iran.
It took up all a lot of the Middle East space. Yeah. See, this is what I'm learning.
You learn new things on the show. Well, I'm talking about this show, not the show you're watching, but you learn new things on this show as well.
Right.
No, because I didn't know what Liam just mentioned just interested me a bit. That's all.
Oh yeah. So you should watch Alexander, the Making of a God.
Mm.
So he's become the king of Persia, but it's like there's like they sort of teased at the end that like he does more, but it's like I don't know what else. I've got I know I can just Wikipedia, but I just don't know what else he does.
He's got a tiny bit further to go. He's got to go.
Okay.
He's gone to India. That's like the last frontier, basically.
Oh no, he hasn't gone to India. No.
Wait, so how do you know so much about Alexander the Great, Liam?
Oh, I read a book. about
read a book.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have the series in my list. Maybe I should
show it to us.
Oh, yeah.
It's enticing with with what you said about just being mainly acting.
Yeah, I thought it was cool for that. It was something I hadn't seen before, so I appreciated it.
Mm.
Andy, what have you been watching?
I feel like if I do talk about this, it might go into a 30-minute lecture for no reason. So I'll probably
Jesus,
shorter to talk about. I watched this film called Raging Fire early in the week, and the reason why I was enticed to rewatch it was because during a run that I had my Nike Run Club app, I was listening to the film soundtrack by Nicholas Desai, and it really electrified me during my run. So I thought, is there a way I could watch this film? Then I discovered I had to subscribe to this thing called Hiya, so HI-YAH exclamation mark. So I subscribed to that on a 7-day free trial with my VPN, and that's how I sort of rewatched the film. And in terms of the film, I guess it's just it is just your run-on-the-mill Hong Kong action film, but like the genre's glory days were in the 80s and the 90s. So there hasn't been a great action film in like years from Hong Kong, but this would be one of the ones we've had that is like pretty good. It's not like Infernal Affairs or anything that you guys reviewed. It's just like a full-on action crime police sort of film, and the interesting aspect that you get out of the film is police brutality, because basically it stars Don Yen, so the guy who was in John Wick Chapter 4 and Rogue One, and he plays
for all us basic people.
For you, basically, Don Yen is the star of the film alongside Nicholas Desai, who plays the villain. And basically, what happens is they both used to work together. Like Nicholas Desai was Don Yen's protege, and what happened was during a case they bet up a guy to death, and that resulted into Don Yen telling the court that he indeed did beat up and kill the suspect, and it resulted to police brutality. But the interesting thing about the theme of brutalism was that it was released and shot around the time Hong Kong was like going out to protest on the streets every day. So I thought, when you think about Hong Kong police brutality being on the news every day, it sort of like reflects back into the film, and it's just like, oh shit, it really happens. Police brutality. The cops aren't really good people, but what can you do? And that results into Nicholas Say's character, the villain, getting out of jail and then trying to get revenge on those who wronged him, including Don Yen, who was his mentor. And it's just like a full-on head-to-head action sort of film where Nicholas Say goes rogue on a lot of people, and Donnie Yen really has to try to stop him. It's like I said, it's just a run-on-the-mill Hong Kong action film, but there hasn't been a good one in like years. Like for the past 10 years, this is probably the only good one that I've seen in terms of like action as a genre. And this is a film where Donnie Yen brings his form back into world class, which is probably why he was in John Wick Chapter 4 a few years later. And I will recommend this film for the final shootout because people have compared that to Heat's shootout on the street.
Oh.
Yeah, like apparently people say, "Oh yeah, it definitely feels like Heat the shootout," and like it might not be a good one, but it's a decent one. Like a bit of CGI, but like the street shootout is like there's no way it betters the Heat shootout, but like it kind of feels like a Hong Kong cover of the Heat shootout. So yeah, if I had to recommend this film, I recommend it for that shootout. But yeah, cool. Raging Fire should be like a. Did I say Raging Bull at the start? I feel like I said Raging Bull, but the title's okay. So the title's Raging Fire, but like I'd recommend that Hong Kong action film because Donnie Yen is so good in it. They'll say he's a pretty decent villain, and he made a bang soundtrack that made me run a lot more in a Nike Run Club app. But that was my highlight of the week. We're just rewatching Raging Fire and seeing the glory days of Hong Kong action cinema. Like, if you really enjoy Hong Kong action 80s and 90s cinema, it's definitely recommended. But like, if you haven't seen any, this is a pretty good one to start off with. It might look generic, but like it's really good for compared to like the other releases that feel very direct to video, sort of streaming film. But this one's like for the screen. It's like I remember missing out on this film at the cinemas because of fucking Dan Andrews, putting us in lockdown. I couldn't see the film at all at the time. So yeah, I definitely regret not seeing this in cinemas because of lockdown. But yeah, I'm definitely glad to watch it twice afterwards anyway. But yeah, Donnie Yen, so my childhood kung fu hero. It's like
oh yeah,
I just want to shout out to Donnie Yen. Yeah,
and of course you're preaching to the choir. Shout out to soundtracks that make you run faster. I'm all about it.
Exactly. Like definitely listen to it, Zach, if you're going to run. Don't.
I feel like I can't listen to a film soundtrack to a film I haven't seen. You know what I mean? I mean,
it's just a song. It's just a song, but like, it's not part of the film. It's only in the credits, but like,
oh, okay.
You don't understand Cantonese, but like, you should still listen to it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a rock type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds
good.
Cool.
Soundtrack.
I probably won't though. All right. As always, now comes the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what is the best and worst franchise we have reviewed?
Oh shit! You need to look that up.
Yeah, check out I just went to the YouTube and click the playlists. You got them all right there.
Wait, can I go on YouTube while we're recording on the laptop? Oh, we can. Are you there?
Go for it. Okay, yeah. Right. Yeah, you're good, bro. You're good.
Okay.
Dr. Luke said, best franchise is Indiana Jones.
Woo!
Worst is Spider-Man because you gave up and didn't do them all.
Fuck.
Give the Amazing Spider-Man Defense Force a chance. I mean, he's not wrong. The idea, I don't recall what the idea was. The idea was to lead into that bloody Far From Home or whatever it was called, No Way Home.
Right.
And it's like we only had enough time to do the Raimi ones. The Raimi ones were the significant ones. Well, I guess Andrew Garfield was just as significant.
No, he wasn't. Come on. Let's be real. No, we're doing the Raimi trilogy. Like, that's what we're doing.
The Raimi trilogy.
Yeah.
You guys did do the Raimi trilogy, yeah.
I guess like we could go back and like, do some other ones and then like still bundle it into the same playlist. But like in our minds, yeah, you're right. We were doing the Raimi trilogy. So if we were to take on another Spider-Man trilogy, another Spider-Man duology or whatever, then that would be like sort of us doing it again. I mean like a new franchise in quotes,
yeah.
We completed that objective. Luke. So I don't appreciate that. This was interesting though. So Andy, I'm sure would have written an elaborate response, but he happens to be here right now. Isn't that amazing? So we can ask him in person.
Hello.
This was interesting looking at these because first of all, we've actually done more than I sort of expected. There's a few to choose from.
There's a collection. There's a collection.
There is, and the other aspect to it is that I feel like they're all kind of on similar levels. There's none that, other than, there's none that really like stand up and above as like clearly the winner, and there's none that we've done that I would say are bad either, like just straight bad. They're all sort of like got like, hits, highs and lows in their own ways. So, this was an interesting reflection for me anyway. But Fitzy, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see what you're saying. I kind of see what you're saying. Like, we had fun with all these trilogies, but I think
trilogies.
Well, they're not all trilogies, I guess, but franchises. But The Matrix was probably the weakest for me, just because I think it was so early on, and we were kind of a bit, amateurish back then. I mean, not just we're amateurish now still probably, but compared to actual film critics. But it wasn't. I feel like that first film, I definitely could have said more, and we could have done better there. But it wasn't like terrible or anything. But I think compared to our later stuff, it was probably weaker if I had to pick something. But like,
you're reviewing the reviews.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question. Like,
I mean, you're more than welcome to.
You said I could last week. Remember, you were like, I asked if I could.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, you're right.
Don't say true, Andy. You weren't here. But best, I'll say, I think Oceans. Oceans was a lot of fun.
Oh my god.
I like listening to those, especially Zach's hate on Julia Roberts as well, which is pretty unjustifiable. No, it's justifiable.
Ocean's 13 is still the best one. Changed my mind.
Well, that's what I liked about it. You came around in the end, you know.
Because Al Pacino was fun.
There we go.
Yeah.
Alien's like close second. Alien was a good, solid long franchise.
But until you watch the fourth film, it isn't the best franchise for you.
I didn't watch the fourth one.
No. It's an incomplete franchise for you.
Where the fuck were you for the fourth film?
I don't know.
It's easy going.
Jesus.
Who knows?
The lack of commitment.
Oh wow.
The Covenant and the what's the other one? Prometheus. You were there though, right?
Yeah, I was there for the rest of them.
Yeah, you were there for those, yeah.
Yeah. For me, I mean, Matrix is definitely my least favorite franchise. If I'm just looking at it in terms of the movies, for sure. Like, I like that first movie. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but I think it's really good. And then the rest of this not very good.
But like,
so that was.
Yeah, I feel like with the rest, like none of us really were that into it in the first place, and then I think we didn't distinguish as much what we didn't like about it. It was just kind of like we just kind of bagged on it a bit. With the second one and the third one, I guess.
Oh, you reckon? Those movies, I thought those movies just
like it was exactly like that's the thing. Like we didn't really specify like all the intricacies of the second and the third film. It was just kind of the mood was kind of these films are shit, and we're gonna shit on them a little bit.
I think I had plenty of examples as to what didn't work in them. I mean, actually, maybe I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, but like it was just the mood that was set in those
right.
It was like a kind of Sharknado kind of thing where we're just like, these movies aren't good. We're not gonna try to see the positives or whatever.
Right. No, fair enough. But if I'm looking at the quality of the movies, I stand by that I don't like them, so that's fine.
Fair.
Like, Best was hard. This was really hard because we haven't done a franchise yet that's like just clearly, oh, I love this franchise. You know what I mean? But we've done a lot I like, for sure. Like, I mean, honestly, my best might be, just for the surprise factor of it, might be Magic Mike. Just because in terms of how consistent it was, and like I had like no expectations or understanding going in. So like overall, that might be like my most like positive in terms of everything. Like even, I don't know, like I know a lot of people would probably go, what about Planet of the Apes? And I did really like those movies, but like, I don't know, like War still sort of dropped the ball a little bit for me, to be honest. So like it's just another little example of a little low point kind of thing. I didn't think the movie was bad at all, but it's just like, it's not 100% consistency there.
No.
So that's where I stand. But Andy, we need the viewer perspective here.
I don't feel like I'm qualified to answer this question, and I think Jaden should be here, but he didn't.
You can answer it. No, go for it.
All right. It just seems a bit unfaithful that Jaden's not here to talk about his favorite series or franchise. But if I had to guess his best, it'd probably be the Planet of the Apes trilogy
Yeah,
that Zach just mentioned. Then,
oh, he does love Hunger Games too, but yeah,
yeah, he does, but
yeah,
it can't be as good as Planet of the Apes, surely, Jaden.
yeah, probably no. Yeah, no, I reckon you're right about that.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, obviously, I'm just gonna pick these off the Although, if I had to choose the favorite series for the reviews that you guys did, it would definitely be Indiana Jones, because Dr. Luke has appeared on a few times, and it just feels enjoyable to listen to you guys talk about the franchise that I haven't seen, that I've only just seen for the first time. Wait, first time? Yeah, first time. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So yeah, Indiana Jones would probably be my favorite series that you guys have reviewed.
So you liked it the most because Luke was on them?
Well, for sure. Like, that's the reason why I call him Dr. Luke, Dr. Jones. Don't shake your head, Zach. Don't shake your fucking head.
Don't give him the time of day, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, come on. No, it's just like my honest opinion. Like, my favorite reviewed franchise is definitely Indiana Jones. Enough said.
Cool.
But my favorite series that I definitely love watching, like, from a cinephile's perspective, you'd naturally go for The Godfather or Blade Runner, but my favorite would have to be the Ford trilogy that you just did just then.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's just definitely the stuff that I like listening to you guys talk about. It's simple. These are simple films, and then you guys just like come up with these interpretations about life and about the dickheadness of Julie Delpy's character. It's just like really good to listen to, and no doubt they are my favorite films. The worst playlist I've ever seen on this channel is Zach reacts to the Bad Batch. No, I'm kidding. No, don't worry. Nothing gets you. But the worst one's probably Alien reviews, mainly because I haven't been too engaged with the Alien series as much, especially after the third film. I don't think I've even watched Covenant. So that one feels incomplete. But yeah, that and Zach reacts to the Bad Batch might have to be the worst playlist on the channel.
Is it better or worse than Zach talks Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Oh no! Oh, there it is. I forgot about that. Shit. Yeah, I was looking at the right side. I didn't see it on the left.
Oh god.
Sorry.
I'm sorry that stuff has to haunt the playlists on the channel.
Yeah, but it gives off it's so out of place, Oh.
I'm sorry.
Well, webcams early days though, when you were on webcam, those were the best days when you reacted to these Star Wars episodes.
When it was a novelty having webcam, and now it's just
for you,
take it for granted because we do it all the time.
Yeah, you guys do it all the time, and now I'm on it. It just feels a bit weirder, but
yeah, I'll get used to it. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube or Instagram comment section, or join the Discord server. This week, the specific question we'll be asking you is, who is the most underutilized actor you have seen in a movie? Let us know. Andy's hyped to answer this question. Let us know next week. That's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Fitzy, what are we doing next week?
We're continuing our. I mean, this is like an unofficial franchise thing we're doing, I guess. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Sky Giver.
It sort of, to me, when you see it on Netflix, looks like it might say The Scavenger, but you got to read it carefully.
Yeah. Sure.
Look forward to hearing that next week.
So yeah, hopefully it's hopefully I'm not the only one that likes it yet, but I probably will be. But that's right.
Hopefully Zaddy sticks the landing, as they say.
Zaddy.
But we'll see. All right. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate Andy Lau for joining us.
Thank you
On this episode.
Well, one thing I'll have to say, I would prefer Dr.
God.
Luke to be on here first, in camera instead of me.
Oh,
But I'm glad to be joining you guys instead.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
camera episodes will probably freak me out first, but hopefully future guest host appearances I'll get used to them. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm grateful
Yeah.
that you guys have invited me today for this stupid webcam.
I appreciate your
thingamajiggy.
gratitude. If you continue to diss the webcam, you're probably not going to be invited back, so it's a bit presumptive of you. But anyway,
Stuff you.
appreciate Liam joining for me as always. He's here too.
Sorry.
Did a great
There
job.
he is.
And
There's that
that's
man, Fitzy.
that's it. Let's end this crap.
I
Have a
love
great
being
rest
on
of your
camera.
week.
I love being on camera. It's so good. You can see other
And
people.
goodbye. See ya.